Welcome to Mental Makeover Radio, your go-to destination for meaningful conversations about mental health. I'm your host and your trusted therapist bestie, Cecilia Manella. Join us as we explore the complexities and messiness of human experience by addressing your questions and concerns. I'm here to provide a straightforward and practical therapy advice. So grab your favorite beverage, whether it's tea, coffee, or whatever tickles your taste buds, and get ready to embark on a mental makeover. Hello and welcome to Mental Makeover Radio. I'm your host, Cecilia Manella. I'm really excited that you're here with me today as we dive into a topic of perfection. So we're not dealing with a listener's question today. I'm just going to share some of my musings and insights, and also one specific tactical way to change your relationship with perfectionism, to move into ditching it, hopefully once and for all. So it's one small step that can make a tremendous amount of difference. Let's just talk a bit about perfectionism. Now, we often identify it as a personality trait. We say things like, I'm such a perfectionist, or it's just who I am, right? It's just my personality style. But the truth is, we're not really born that way. We're not born perfectionists, right? We are born these perfect little beings that come into the world full of curiosity and wanting to explore, right? And so perfection is actually taught to us in many ways. Most of the time, perfection comes out of trauma response or a response to not having our needs met. Now, it doesn't have to be a really massive amount of trauma. It doesn't have to be a significant amount of trauma. It can be something just, being a little person and not getting your needs met, not being heard, not being listened to, not having your emotions validated, not having your needs addressed by the adults in your life. So that's little t trauma or really big T trauma sometimes leaves us with this idea of perfection. Now, what is perfectionism and what is our desire to attain perfection? It is this concept that if we can just get everything perfect enough, then everything will be good. Whether that is, I'm going to get the life that I want, or I'm going to get the relationship that I want, or the promotion, or the grades, or whatever it is, that I'm moving towards perfection so that I can feel like I'm enough. Okay. So when it's connected to this I am enoughness, and it feels really personal, it feels like a personality thing. And sometimes we wear it as a badge of honor. It's like, I'm such a perfectionist. I need everything to be amazing. And that's such a badge of honor. My house is perfect. My life is perfect. Everything looks perfect. And in some sense, the narrative that we have around perfection, so the things we believe to be true about perfection, sometimes comes true. And this is kind of like the mind fuck that comes with it, because sometimes you do the things that you think are perfect and it leads to success. So we get this in school. So when we're in school, we can see that if we work really hard at something and it leads to an A+, that means that we're close to perfection. So if I do all the work and I follow these steps, then it's going to get me what I want and what I desire. And what the desire is to actually be perfect. And if I'm perfect, then somehow I'm safe. Somehow I'm not going to be noticed, or I'm not going to get in trouble, or I'm going to get connection. I'm going to get love. I'm going to get belonging if I can just be perfect. Now, we learn this usually in childhood when we're young, and we carry it all the way into adulthood. And it kind of leads to a lot of problems. So, to list a few, high rates of anxiety, high rates of depression, relationship issues. It can lead to some obsessive compulsive behavior. It creates a lot of disconnection with ourselves because we're not being authentic to who we are. It creates a lot of disconnection in relationships to other people, so that our relationship breakdown, because it's really difficult to be in relationship with someone who is obsessed with being perfect. I want you to think about yourself and think about the people that you are most attracted to, what you find yourself drawn to, who you go to. And I'm willing to bet that it's not because someone's perfect. And in fact, you probably are attracted to the messiness of another person. It's this idea of like, oh, there's a connecting piece here. You're not this perfect thing that I can't relate to. What it is there's some part of you that's messy, just like it's messy with me. And this is what creates connection between human beings, because humans are not meant to be perfect. It's neither attainable or possible. I believe there's a quote by Albert Einstein who said, perfection is neither attainable or possible, and if an extremely intelligent man who created so much of what we benefit from today said that, then maybe we should kind of start thinking about it. Now, the genesis, so the birthplace of perfection, and I want you to think about this actual word perfection, the way that I learned it, was that it comes from this field and space of mathematics, and this idea of there being something that is a perfect angle or a perfect circle. Now, the crazy thing is that in mathematics, there's an understanding is that the perfect angle or the perfect circle is actually only theoretical. It doesn't actually exist in real life, right? Because it can't be. If you can ask an engineer and they'll tell you, as much as they try to make everything perfect, the reality is that there's always something that's a little bit imperfect. And the goal is to have it to be good enough, not about perfection. If it was perfection, none of us would live in homes or work in buildings, because the buildings are perfect. Nothing is actually perfect because there's no such thing as a perfect angle. So if we can't have perfection in mathematics, how is it freaking possible that we expect perfection from humanity? By definition, humans are really messy, and we are just making things up as we go, and things are constantly changing and constantly evolving. So perfection really isn't attainable, as much as there's this massive illusion that we can achieve perfection. And I want you to really think about where you learned perfection, where you learned the idea that being perfect or achieving perfection was going to give you something. Now, it's not necessarily just about rewards of, money or monetary things, because you learn this in childhood. So the desire and drive for perfection is most likely about connection, about safety, about belonging, and about being good enough. So I want you to really think about that. Where did you learn this concept of perfection, and where does it come from? I know for me, this drive for perfection in my early 20s was really rooted in being the oldest of 4 children and also being the firstborn of 2 immigrant parents. So there was a lot of pressure on doing really well, and it manifested itself in school and academia, where it was as long as I was getting really, really great grades, then there was acceptance and I was getting a lot of, positive affirmation. And when I went off of having good grades, if I had a class where I wasn't doing as amazing as I typically do, there was a lot of questions around what's going on and what's wrong. So there's really no permission to not be good at something. I had to be good at everything that I tried. And some would say that, great, so this is led to me being an adult who pursues a lot and is really tenacious and really dedicated. But on the other hand, it's come with a lot of downfalls where I've had to manage a lot of anxiety and a lot of self-disappointment and a lot of negative self-talk when things weren't perfect. Okay, so perfection, in fact, doesn't get us connection. It gets us more disconnection. And messiness actually gets us connection. And I know this is very much opposite to what you're used to. And it's shifting your mindset just a little bit to kind of see it just a little bit different. That, if we shed the expectation of perfection, so ditch the shroud of perfection that we're carrying, it actually allows us to be a little bit more vulnerable and open and kind of messy. And it's in that messiness that we have really joyful relationships and connection with other people, because we are showing parts of ourselves that isn't, let's say, hasn't been airbrushed. Nobody really loves anybody else that is perfectly airbrushed all the time. Again, if you look about who you're attracted to in your life, the friends you have, the relationships you have, coworkers, places you like to work, people you follow on social, or businesses that you buy from, it's not really about the perfection. It's the story that it is woven in there about the imperfect, the moments of failure, the messiness, the gushiness, the vulnerability that we tend to share. We connect through vulnerability. It's when we hear someone's story that's a bit messy, we lean into, oh, you're just like me. I see a reflection of myself in you. So the biggest lie of perfection is going to get us connection and get us this amazing life. But the truth is when you kind of unveil it, it's not that. And the trick of perfection is that the bar is constantly changing. So just when you're just like, okay, so I just need to do A, B, and C, and then I'm going to reach this place of perfection. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to relax and drink my margarita and have a really good time. And then you do the A, B, and C, this list that you have, and you arrive there, and then you realize that perfection has actually raised the bar yet again. And so you're like, okay, I don't get to rest here. I don't get my margarita yet. I don't get to, celebrate the things that I've done. I have to continue moving, continue reaching this bar. So then the bar moves again. And then you do all the things and you get there and you think, okay, now I can relax. But then perfection moves the bar and moves the bar and moves the bar. Okay. I know this is probably something that you thought about or maybe haven't thought about in this way, but I hope that this resonates with you. Now I'm going to tell you a bit of a trick, a little tactical trick on how to change perfection or your relationship with perfection, because perfection sounds a very specific way and uses really specific language. And the one word that perfection inevitably always uses is the word should. I should be doing this. I should be working harder. I should take that course. I should be prettier. I should be thinner. I should be funnier. I should hustle more. I should be more productive. I should clean the house more. I should. So we kind of just should all over ourselves all the time. That is the voice of perfection. Okay, that word should is a voice of perfection because that's about expectation. And the expectation is that where you currently are is not good enough. So the bar is moving and moving and moving. So the word should is really your, put off your spidey senses and let you know that you're kind of a little bit in relationship with perfection. And it is the word that everybody uses in your internal dialogue and as you speak, when you say things out loud. Oh, I should be this and I should go to the gym. I should this and I should this and I should that. Or you should this or you should that or she should this and he should that. And so then we should on other people. We put expectations of perfection on other people, full of judgment, basically saying that what you're doing right now is not enough. Who you are in this moment is not enough. You have to be working towards something better. You have to be moving into perfection. So the word should is a bit of a trap. Okay, I want you to pay attention to how often you're using should. I want to know, how often are you using should? When you tune into your language and you tune into the shoulds, how often are you using them? And I am willing to guess it's a lot. Okay, so I want you to audit your language. I want you to pay attention to the word should. I want you to throw in like your spidey senses on that word, and I want you to pay attention. So you want to focus on one word. And then the way to change this is replacing it with one other word. So we're removing should and we're adding the word could. Okay, we're taking away should and adding the word could. And I don't want you to change anything else about what you say to yourself, what you say to other people, except for those two words. So instead of saying, oh, I should go to the gym, or, I should get a gym membership, I want you to say, oh, I could go to the gym. I could get a gym membership. And I want you to notice how different that might feel. If you're listening to this in your car or if you're going for a walk or whatever you're doing, I want you to say it out loud. Your typical should, especially with the New Year's coming. There's lots of goals happening here, right? There's a lot of shoulds. I should be setting resolutions and I should be setting goals and I should be going to the gym. And then I want you to change that should to a could. And I want you to feel it in your body, how different it actually is. Because I know what happens is the word should creates a little bit of tension. It may be tension in your back and your shoulders or your stomach somewhere. There's going to create some tension. And the second you change it to could, there's a releasing of that tension in your body because it allows more options. And the could leads to a second question, which is, if I say to myself, I could go to the gym instead of I should go to the gym, then it's like, if I could go to the gym, it's like, well, then why am I not? Or how can I get there? Or what has to happen? Whereas when I say I should go to the gym, it just triggers a bunch of shame. And I feel like crap about myself. And then it leads to a whole bunch of other shoulds. I should lose weight. I should do this. I should do that. I should eat better. And I should do this. And it creates this kind of cluster mess of shoulds where you start to should all over yourself and just sit in so much shame. But the word could does not elicit shame. And shame is a stopper. Shame is rooted in perfection. Okay. And the one way to get rid of shame is to change the word from should to could. Could doesn't actually bring up shame. Could actually brings up some curiosity. Now, if you are more of a visual person, because I think usually in pictures, I imagine that when we should all over ourselves, it's like banging your head up against a wall. I should be doing something. I should be just doing something. And our face is really close to the wall. We can't really see the entire building or the entire thing. We just know that we're up against a wall. And when you change the word should to could, it's like taking a step back and realizing that maybe there's a door right to your left, or there's a window right to your right. But you couldn't really see it before because shame prevents you from seeing other options. It just makes you feel like shit about yourself. And when we do that, we sit in that place of feeling bad about ourselves. It just overloads, and we pick all the things that make us feel crappy about ourselves and just add more and add more. But when we're sitting in a place of could, which is about possibility, it's about curiosity, it's about growth. There's something different that happens. It's a stepping away from the wall and realizing there's other opportunities where you can dive into other questions. Well, I could do that. Okay, so then how can I do it? And do I really want to do it? Is this something that I genuinely is part of who I am? Or is this an expectation of society maybe, or expectation of friends or family that I actually am not really aligned with? Like, what is happening there? So the could actually opens up conversation with yourself. It opens up conversation with other people. I challenge you to try this. I challenge you to go into relationships and talking to people. Instead of saying should, I want you to say could. And I want you to see how it changes for other people, because people are a reflection. They act as a mirror to us usually. So I want you to test it out. So I want you to test it out within your own internal dialogue. So I want you to catch it and I want you to change it. One word. It's one magical word. You're moving from should to could. And I want you to try what that looks like. When you hear yourself say the word should, I want you to correct it. And I want you to say, I could. And then when you're talking to other people and you hear the shoulds of yourself, maybe they're coming up in conversation, or you hear them use the word should, I want you to then just reframe it for them. Gently say, well, you could, but you don't have to should on yourself. You could. This is something you could explore. You will see the difference of energy that happens in this conversation with other people and the energy within yourself. It is a gift of creativity. It's the gift of the ability to open yourself up to being curious instead of sitting in shame. Trust me, curiosity is way more fun than sitting in shame. Shame is a waste of time. It doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't really help you get anywhere. It doesn't facilitate growth. If anything, it keeps you stuck and stagnated and not growing. Whereas curiosity, births so much beauty in your life and so much opportunity. Now, this is not about being perfect at this either, because I know that's where you're going with this. Like, well, I can't do perfectly, so I'm not going to do it at all. Learning a new skill is really difficult. And it takes a lot of practice. And I'm telling you, I've been doing this for a long time, and I still catch myself saying the shoulds. So I want you to have some grace and some patience and some love for yourself and compassion, and just make it a commitment that you're going to work on changing the shoulds to coulds. Write it down, journal, put stickers where you need them, put them in, Post-it notes in the mirror, in the bathroom, or in your car, or wherever it is. Recruit other people in your life to also be part of this process, to help catch the shoulds. It's a really great way to, bring in friendships into it, so that, if you've noticed that there's something that's happening where both people, or you and your partner, both sit in places of shoulds, to change it and challenge it into more of a could conversation, and see the difference that actually happens. This is the greatest change you can make around ditching perfection. It sounds really simple, and it actually really is. Okay. But it's not easy. So simple is just clear. Okay. Simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. And often things that are simple are actually a lot harder than things that are really complicated. Because when things are complicated, we get caught up in all the steps. And then it's easy for us to say, well, it wasn't worth it. I couldn't do it. It was too hard. It was too challenging. So it kind of gets me off the hook. But things that are simple are not like that. It's very clear we're either doing it or not doing it. And I want you to do this. So it is a really simple tactic, but it's also really hard. So I want you to be very patient with yourself and very kind. And I want you to tell me how it goes. I want you to let me know what is happening when you change your shoulds to coulds. So you can hop on Instagram and let me know at the our podcast Instagram, or you can hop on and let us know on the Q&A in Spotify and let us know how it goes. Really, really want to know how this how this transitions your life and in which ways you're actually implementing this. Because this can radically change your life and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about other people. And it's time to ditch perfection. It's time to let that go. It's time to be compassionate towards yourself and build a better connection with yourself and build a better connection with other people. You deserve to have loving relationships with other people and loving relationship with yourself. Okay? Thank you so much for being part of this, great conversation today on perfection. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and follow button on your preferred platform. Your support means everything to me and helps us grow this podcast and share it to all the other listeners out there. The show wouldn't be possible without you. So I really appreciate you tuning in, listening. Take a quick look at our show notes for a link on how to submit a question to be featured on the podcast, or let us know what topics you really want covered. Makes a difference to know, to be able to serve you in the best way possible and what you are looking for. So content that you're looking for, let us know. You can also hop on to Instagram and let us know. Send us a quick DM and we'll be happy to cover the topic of your choice. Thanks again for being part of the Mental Makeover community. Until next time, be bold, be brave, be well.